Okay, this is Coaching from Home, video number 2. And what I want to talk about in this video is how you should properly handle the oar during the rowing stroke. This is from the perspective of a portside rower. So seats 2, 4, 6, 8, you would be sitting back in the coxswain seat. This is actually an old oar handle itself. This is the inboard end. And the outboard end would obviously go all the way out over the port side of the boat. I've taped a piece of cardboard here that will represent the blade. So that you know when you're rowing, the blade is obviously perpendicular to the surface of the water and you're pulling the oar through the water. There will also be occasions where the blade is feathered and it's parallel to the surface of the water. That's when you're pushing it away. Okay, so we want to talk about how you handle the oar so you don't get blisters and you have a most effective stroke. Okay, inboard end, outboard end. 2 hands, 2 opposable thumbs. Humans have opposable thumbs. The interesting thing is you don't need 2 opposable thumbs. In fact, on your inboard hand, near the end of the oar, I could cut my thumb off, or I could just simply hold the oar like this. It's not wrong to put the thumb underneath, but you have to remember that when you're rowing, you're not grabbing the oar like a club. You're not doing this. You're putting pressure on with this part of your hand. Imagine you're hanging from a cliff, literally hanging from a cliff. So there's a wall here and I've got my fingers clipped over like that. I'm putting all my weight on it. That's the force that you should feel when you're on the oar. Okay? So if you were hanging from a cliff, you couldn't use your thumbs, right? Because all the pressure is here. Same thing with the oar. Even though we may want you to put your thumb underneath, and that's what the instruction manual says, the force needs to come from this part. If I were to put my thumbs on top, I could actually row very effectively like this. This would be rowing on the square. Rowing on the square, the oar would never feather. It is an interesting drill to do during practice. We've never raced that way. Of course, we do want to, on the recovery portion of the stroke, when you're pushing it away, we want to rotate the oar so that it's feathered and then bring it back up. Okay, the second idea is on this inboard hand here. I've got a short stick. I want to use this as an aid. I'm going to tape this to my wrist. So let me tape it here. Let's see if we can do this without being too klutzy about it. Now again, this is nothing we would want to do in practice, but I think it's a good visualization technique so that you can sort of understand what we mean when we say flat wrists. Okay, so I've got this stick now taped to my forearm, going all the way to my knuckles, and I can't physically bend my wrist. I can't do this at all because the stick is preventing it from happening. Okay, on the oar, this inboard hand is effectively hooked on just like that, and we pull with a flat wrist. We never break this inboard hand, the one that's at the end of the oar. We never twist it. We never allow it to twist. Hence, you don't need this thumb. You could put your thumb on top. Heck, if you were Captain Hook and you simply had a metal hook hanging over your wrist, that would be perfect. You hook in and you pull like this. Okay? So the oar is square in the oar lock. And you should know by now that you can feel very gently. There's a couple of flat sections on the collar, on the outboard end out here, where the oar will roll up nice and square, perpendicular, or in the feathered position. And if you rotate it gently, you can feel those pretty easily. Okay, so we're rowing on the square. Both wrists are perfectly flat. We're hanging from our cliff. All right. I mean, if you were on a cliff, you could not hang with your weight like that. Or like that. You might want to try it on the chin-up bars at the boathouse. When you're hanging on a chin-up bar, your wrist will naturally be perfectly straight because all your weight's pulling straight down. When we suspend our weight on the oar, it's the same idea. Okay? So we finish the stroke. The oar will come back like this. This wrist stays flat. But now we want to feather the oar. And you're going to do that with the outboard wrist, the one that's out towards the oar. You're going to take this and twist it like that. Then you push the oar away, twist it back up, and pull again. Now notice in this twisting motion, this inboard hand, the one that's on the end, never breaks. So I'm twisting with just one hand. If I need an opposable thumb, it's on the outboard hand. That's where I twist it. Now, the other thing that may be useful to imagine, suppose I had glue right on my fingertips. So once I got the oar perfectly square and my wrist perfectly flat, these fingertips now are placed and they can't move. Okay? So I pull the oar, I'm rowing on the square, everything's okay. Nice flat wrist, both wrists nice and flat. To feather the oar, I'm going to take this outboard hand, the one that's closest to the blade, and I'm going to twist it. Okay, that will get the oar so it's parallel to the surface. I can recover, and then when I twist back up, my wrist will automatically be perfectly square. I don't have to try to reposition this every time. So wrist is flat, we pull, we feather, we push away, square it up again. Pull, feather, push it away, square it up again. Okay, obviously it's nice smooth motion. All right, like that. Keep the inboard hand just rotating in here. Okay, you should probably never get blisters on this hand because all it does is it hooks. If you're getting blisters on the outboard hand, it's probably because you're grabbing it too tightly. It doesn't require a lot of grabbing force. It requires force this way, right? Pulling force, and a very gentle twist. A very gentle twist. Okay, so that's video number 2. I may try to redo this again for the starboard side rowers. But that will be it for port side 2, 4, 6, 8. Thank you.